Awesome. Welcome to the series on usage-based SaaS. Today we have the CEO of DigitalRoute, Andreas Zartmann. We have exchanged some likes and comments on LinkedIn in the past. So thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today, Andreas.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be on the show here.
So awesome. One of the things both of us are passionate about is pricing. And we're both passionate. You're observing a lot that is happening on the usage-based side and GenAI side. So I'm just wanted your perspective. Has what is making you excited today? And how is this topic, in your opinion, is even more relevant at the moment?
I'm super excited because of two things. First of all, I think the whole subscription economy has come to a step on the evolution where usage-based business models in general is a hot topic.
Yeah.
And AI is pouring gasoline on that fire as well, because as we discuss now in the marketplace, AI is priced very much around usage or consumption or some kind of outcome-based business model, right? These two things in parallel is really driving the market forward to what I think is a more fair model in general, but also from our perspective today is also needed from an angle of companies in general getting growth going, because consumption-based business models in general is lowering the hurdle for the end consumer to realize value around digital services.
Yeah, makes sense. And you don't necessarily just support software businesses, you support a lot of other businesses as well. So I'm curious, SaaS, I understand there is more Gen AI, it has to be more consumption usage. How are traditional businesses thinking about usage? And because you would imagine that these are industries that are slower to change.
Yeah. No, I think the whole debate in the marketplace is very much around software, right? But digital services in general has been an emerging trend for many years now. And anything as a service in general helped some of the school book examples to move to usage-based businesses long time ago. Print as a service, everything travel, transport, and logistics is very usage-based at its core.
Okay.
You can let's make an example out of sending a parcel from A to B. Right. Comes with quite a complexity in the background. We think it's simple because you go online, you order something, and then it's sent home to you in a B2C context.
Yeah.
But eventually you forget about it, or you change the place for delivery, which immediately impacts the cost of delivering the package, right? So that's a very simple example. But to start with, this is a session that needs to be metered and measured. So it starts somewhere, it ends somewhere, going back to telecoms where all of this originated from. Right? And the same thing goes for software, it goes for travel booking, it goes for anything as a service consumption in general. Right. And we have a wide range of customers. And what's been very exciting the last 10 years or so is that we have been helping and partnering up with the pioneers of different industries. Mm-hmm. And now I think that we see more maturity coming into many different verticals, actually. It's all over the place today.
So if you were to prioritize verticals, what other verticals do you feel are being digitized, or maybe they're digitized, they're more quickly going to the realm of usage-based as well?
See, software definitely, right? So everything software as a service, I think we need to think about it from the perspective that companies come in a situation where they need to find a new growth path. So you hit a certain maturity stage. And this is where you add new services to your platform. Everyone has a platform play, right? You build one product from the beginning and then it emerges to something more because you need to either sell more to your existing customer base or you need to tap into new marketplaces. These new marketplaces, they have different preferences of consuming your services, and then you add new ways of pricing. It's a business model evolution or innovation to find new growth. We see this in software, of course. We see this definitely in cloud-based services in general. And with that said, cloud infrastructure is a perfect example of a new platform play. You build infrastructure, and how do you grow it from there? You launch one service, you add other services on top. you add third-party services onto that, etc., etc., and you package these things together, you grow your business models. And I think everything, again, travel, transport, logistic, finance is another place. Everything finance starts to become more mature and taking the next step on their journey, on their evolution. And they have been hindered, I would say, by their legacy. Slow moving, a lot of new entrants, new over-the-top players coming into the finance area, which is fueling the change. And I think that's a very interesting area to explore as well, because it's big companies, there's a lot of money involved, and high value for the end customer as well to get a digitized service.
What is an example of a finance service that would rely a lot on a usage-based model?
Let's take, I think, an example in the area of analytics.
Okay.
Companies that are actually pulling together information or data from different services and bundle this for their end customers as a service to make a faster valuation of your portfolio today, to close your books with higher precision tomorrow. And that needs, in that sense, you need to bring data from different institutes or analytics companies together to provide a bundled service to your end customer to make these evaluation engines faster, more robust, and more reliable. I think we see consumption-based patterns coming into B2C recently, but it's super early stage, right?
Yeah.
Super early stage. But I was discussing with a lead the other day around how to package and go to market with end consumer services around micropayments or discount structures for using a payment card or that kind of services to build loyalty programs and so on.
Yeah. So I guess this brings me to a big question I've always had, which I think is one of the goals I had for speaking with you. What is the technology challenge your company faces when they want to actually move here? Because if you're on LinkedIn, it's very common to see a lot of comments on the benefits of usage-based pricing and all of the companies doing it, and it feels like easy. It feels easy that you should do it. Practitioners know that there are many things that have to be taken into account and change. So I'm curious of the technology angle, right? What is the change that has to happen on the technology side? And then therefore, like, I'm curious what was the reason, what led to the birth of your company? Like what problem was encountered at which point DigitalRoute came into being?
Yeah, maybe we started that then because it builds the story as well and core of our strategy as well and the mission that we are on. DigitalRoute is born and originally raised in the telecoms industry on the back of this major change to 3G, basically, to simplify things. And with 3G, there was two things. First of all, there was a storm of data volumes coming across. And at that point in time, it was extremely expensive to process data, that volume that we suddenly realized that we had to do. And secondly, the evolution of the pricing and packaging for telecom operators to tap into new revenue pockets, exactly what I described previously. But all of this is actually taken from the telecoms industry from the beginning.
Yeah.
And what makes telecom so interesting from an enterprise to look into today or to benchmark on how to build these things is telecoms is a regulated industry that is built upon standards. So they actually created, and we've been part of creating a standard stack that can scale and manage the complexity at the same time. So there are two axes on this graph, right? There's volumes of data and the complexity in the business model, right? And when we're talking about technology here, I think what I see the leading companies today, they standardize around four things. They standardize around CRM, standardize around ERP, they standardize around their billing capabilities and billing systems. They include standardized technology for usage data management. And the reason for that is that, coming back to your first question, usage data doesn't come for free, so to speak. You have to build the usage data set, because usage data consists of information from your production system, whatever. Is it a software? Is it a network? What kind of services do you produce in the backend? It comes from your CRM about your customers, the order, the agreement, the legal part of this that you have signed. How should it be delivered? When? To what price points? At volumes, etc.
Understood.
So you actually need to build a process around managing that data set, the usage data. Let's call it usage data management for now.
Yeah.
And this comes from many different, as we just explained, which does not naturally speak to each other. And what is highly interesting for us here is that at the end of this process, this is going to be a revenue transaction, and it can't be wrong. On top of that, you're going to communicate with your customers in real time about how their consumption patterns is making up the cost for the consumed services, right? And then number 3, you want to optimize these services as you go along and build out your service catalog, your offerings to the end market, right? So finance, monetization, customer experience management, and actually optimization of your services. Those are the 3 core foundations of these digital services. And if you just jump over the data layer, you can just reach a certain level of scalability into this whole process.
Yeah.
So I think, to come back to your question, I think we know actually a lot of our customers and companies that we're speaking to, and in general, jumping these different things, overlook the complexity in this new business model and how you need to run that in a different way.
Makes sense. So I'm curious about one thing. There are a lot of companies in the metering and billing space nowadays. How does your the user data management layer contrast with a metering or billing solution?
I think that's a great question that we should spend a little bit of time on, right? Because sometimes I see there's confusion around these things. First of all, I think what we're doing is augmenting or actually boosting the billing systems, right? And metering is part of this whole play. So I would like to say that every single consumer in this business model is equaling a meter. So how we like to think about this is that regardless if it's a B2C business, a consumer at the end, the person consuming something, or it's a business or an IoT device or an AI agent, every consumer equals a meter. So metering in general, it's a core component in this process around usage data management, but usage data billing as well. So usage-based business models, it stand upon usage of some shape or form. And actually every single subscription business, doesn't matter if you charge a fixed price or usage, it's just an evolution of the same model.
Yeah.
Then it becomes inevitable and very important that you collect this data, you clean it, cleanse it, process it, enrich it, and control the end-to-end data management before it goes into billing for this process we call to cash to really function at its best, because it's a revenue transaction at the end of the day. So we can't fool around with that. Yeah. So what we provide is an extension to the billing vendors and or the ERP vendors, and the stack that it actually consists of these 4 components: CRM, ERP, billing, and usage data management, which is mediation, metering, and an intelligent layer around this wrapped with the business logic. And of course, today it comes with AI capabilities or automation capabilities.
So you're saying it's not very different, but you have just thought through for a more scalable process how this will work. Like metering can feel a very tactical thing, but there is more to the whole thing, right? Like you have to take the usage feed, you have to merge it with the invoicing data, you have to clean the data, and then it has to power the enterprise systems essentially.
Yeah, you need to look at this from the perspective that we're we're supporting a digital service.
Yeah.
With digital, everything is data-driven.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think there is this place for a standardized solution. And now coming back to the history of DigitalRoute is that our technology is built for this standardized stack that no one today is actually thinking about. Why? Because it's a seamless experience. No one is thinking about consuming mobile. It's a state-of-the-art stack. And all of it stands upon billing mediation, as it's called in telecoms, right? And it consists about collection, mediation of data, metering, business logic around it. We call it PCRF, but it's essentially entitlements, right? Entitlements enforcement. And then it's an intelligence embedded as well.
Yeah.
So it's constantly learning, right?
Makes sense. Makes sense. So moving, I guess, to the last section, curious to get your thoughts on. There is a lot of news happening with Gen AI right now. There is all of these LLMs, all of these models. Where do you think that is going to take the world of pricing?
The world of pricing?
Yeah.
I think we're coming back to this. AI is a massive booster of pricing evolution because two things. First of all, and we should not forget about that, everyone that is embedding AI also receive an invoice, a cost. And with that said, you need to control your margins, right? So how do you price this? It's extremely important for the office of the CFO and the business in general, right? You need to have control of that. So it's understanding in real time, how does my customers' consumption patterns impact my cost?
Yeah.
And secondly, I need to price it in real time. And that sounds maybe very stupid to say, right? That no, we don't need that. We can just charge fixed price or something that comes out at the end of the month. But I really think that we need to get to a point where I price this much more dynamic than what it is today. And the reason for that is this cost again. So starting over, the storyline here is that we need to do this much more efficient tomorrow.
Yeah.
So when I look into this, I think dynamic pricing will very rapidly emerge out of this. And I'm saying so also because this has been something that we have been waiting for happening in the enterprise space. Dynamic pricing is already in place when you look at a lot of services built on infrastructure, because there is this dynamic benefit out of having people consuming these services in different hours of the day or what have you. All right. And same thing goes for AI, because AI drives a lot of cost and compute power. And at the end of the day, we're down to this very important sustainability question.
Right.
And the way to solve for that is really to have people to consume these services in a much more efficient way. So that's my thinking around it. Let's try to be a little bit more long-term perspective into the dialogue and discussion around how do we make this happen in a more efficient way than just thinking about getting it out today.
So this is more like the Uber model, right? Like when there is a lot of rain and then the Uber is more expensive. Similarly here, like there is going to be so much traffic. I sometimes use Claude and the Anthropic model, and it says you can't use it right now because the load is too much. So you're saying basically the price should go up at that point so you can still use it. And if you really want to use it, you can still use it.
Exactly. Or you think twice about using it too much or overuse it with no outcome.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Those are most of my questions, Andreas. Is there anything else you want to convey? Most of the people listening are going to be product managers, product marketers, CEOs or founders. So anything else you would like to convey to them? Happy to.
I think the last thing is really when you embark on this evolution or route, the next steps, I would just advise that think about a few things. Think about build for scale and complexity to come. Even if you think you're having a simple business model today, there's going to be much more data tomorrow, and you're going to have to innovate to have your customers consume in a different way tomorrow to grow your business. And number three is that there is standard software available for this area as well. You don't need to build it yourself, or even more so, don't go and build it yourself because it will not scale.
There's a lot of technical debt involved.
Yeah.
And I have felt that pain personally when I was at bigger companies like Twilio. So definitely subscribe to that, which is why I invited you on the call. But thank you so much for the time, Andreas. I know it is the end of your day. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. Been a pleasure.
Cheers.